Did you ever see any lists of priests accused of sexual abuse of minors before October of 2013?
No.
Did you ever ask anybody to compile one or prepare one or give you one?
I did not.
As the Archbishop, isn't your first goal and primary to make sure first the children's souls are safe in the Archdiocese?
Certainly is. It's my primary goal, to make sure that children are safe.
Well, then why wouldn't you making sure you get all the information possible from all those under your charge about
Well, I had.
who could, just a minute, let me finish it, who could pose a risk of harm to those children?
As I indicated before, I had that conversation with Father McDonough and others when I first became coadjutor Archbishop. I knew that they were under the monitoring system, and I felt that they were not putting children at risk.
But that was back in 2008. We're now in 2013. Why hadn't you done more before?
Well, I think we have done more. I mean, we've done the Virtus program, as I indicated. We've done background checks on everyone. We've had seminars and programs for our clergy and for our staff. So it isn't as if we weren't working on this. And as I've said before, that our number one priority is to make sure that children are safe.
When you got the compilation in 2013 in October, was that made publicly known?
Yes.
To all the people?
That was publicly disclosed, yes.
Okay. And did you turn any of the files pertaining to any of those or all of those accused offenders over to law enforcement agencies?
To my knowledge, we did not. They were all out of ministry.
Yeah, but they may have been guilty of crimes, right?
That could be, and so I believe some of them would have already been turned over to the police.
But you don't know which ones, do you?
I don't.
Because you made a conscious choice to not turn them all over, correct?
Well, objection, counsel. Again, you've made a misstatement of facts for the purposes of your own needs here. If anyone has ever asked, you can ask, did anyone ever ask you that you've not turned over a file? You can respond, Archbishop.
Archbishop, the question was, you made the conscious choice to not turn all the files over to law enforcement, correct?
I don't believe it was a conscious decision. I think we were trying to disclose to the public for the safety of children, those who had abused.
But there's a difference between identifying names and turning over files to law enforcement, correct?
Well, objection, it misstates evidence. I'm not sure that the Archbishop has a
You can answer the
A
question.
difference for what?
There's a difference between disclosing names to the public and turning over files concerning those names to law enforcement, correct?
There would be a difference, yes.
Okay, let's talk about those two things. You're saying you turned over the names to the public, right?
Yes.
Okay. How many of those files, of those names of offenders that were made public, were turned over by the Archdiocese to law enforcement?
I can't answer that. Sorry.
Can you answer the any were?
No.
Is it correct to say that no file had ever been turned over after a determination had been made that a priest was credibly accused to law enforcement until and unless law enforcement asked?
Object to foundation. Are you talking about while he's been the Archbishop?
Yes.
I don't recall.
So is it fair to say that your answer is that you have no recollection of ever having voluntarily said, look, we just looked at this file and made a determination internally that this is a credible allegation. Let's just turn it over to law enforcement. But whether it's Chisago County, Washington County, Ramsey County, Hennepin County, let's just do that voluntarily without a request. As far as you can tell or remember, you never made that decision.
No,
correct?
I think that there were cases that were turned over to the police in December, I believe, with Father Gallatin.
Okay, now we're talking about December of 2013.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
There were three, but I can't think of the other two.
Did you turn those files over to law enforcement, to the police?
I believe we did.
To whom?
I think it was the St. Paul Police Department.
Had they requested, or did you do that on your own initiative?
I don't recall.
So, do you recall ever, on your own initiative, ever ordering any files to be turned over without request by law enforcement?
I don't have that recollection, I'm sorry.